Hi everyone, welcome back to Naturopathic Hangouts. I'm Dr. Amy Duong and I'm with.
I'm Dr. Mimosa Tonnu.
Today we're going to explain to you the uses and benefits and actually how to do a castor oil pack. So castor oil is one of those kind of miracle workers. When we went to naturopathic medical school, it seemed like castor oil can cure and fix a lot of different things, and that's because a lot of our acute and chronic conditions and diseases start with inflammation. And castor oil is a great oil to put topically and for as an anti-inflammation and also a pain reliever. So, Mimosa, do you want to speak a little bit more about what you like benefits of castor oil?
Sure. And so using castor oil, there are so many different ways. Like Amy said, you can use it in a castor oil pack, which we'll demonstrate in a little bit. You can use it as rubs. You can use it like topically for certain skin conditions, and you can also ingest it orally. And so a lot of the kids I see have constipation, and there's a lot of gas and bloating. And with little kids, it's kind of hard to know exactly why they're having certain symptoms because they can't really speak. And so parents, they're often really worried. They're like, okay, what can we do? They're so constipated. I don't want to give them laxatives. I don't really want to give them suppositories. And so I always recommend doing a castor oil rub. And so what I recommend for them to do is just get a good amount of castor oil, like squeeze it onto your hand, rub it, make sure that it's warm, and then put it on the baby's belly. And you just rub it in a clockwise position and doing a little scooping motion on their abdomen, going scooping clockwise. And that it enters through the skin. It's very safe. It stimulates the bowels, and it really helps relieve constipation, gas, and bloating. So that's one of the uses
Awesome.
done for kids, yeah, and adults as well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah,
Yeah.
castor oil is also used in a pack form, so I can kind of explain to you how it works. This is the castor oil that I have. This one is cold pressed and cold processed. So from the castor bean, the oil has been extracted and not heated, so it's cold pressed. So this is what you'll be needing as your main oil. This is the flannel pack. So Mimosa was explaining a way to apply castor oil just topically, especially for younger kids and pediatric patients. For the castor oil pack, we like to, it's typically used over the abdomen area, so from kind of the sternum area to above your hip bones, that whole area stretches all the organs in your abdomen, such as your liver, your stomach, your digestive tract, so your intestinal system as well. So if you can fold the flannel pack a couple of times and place it over the area, that's where you're going to be putting the castor oil on first, and then the flannel over it. And afterwards, you need to apply some external heat source, so you can have a hot water bottle or even an electrical heating pad, and make sure that that isn't on if you're going to have a tendency of falling asleep, or if it's late at night and you feel tired, making sure to turn off the the heating source. And then I usually have like a small towel. You can also use plastic to put actually over the flannel so it doesn't soil or ruin your other clothes or linens or bedding that you're laying on. So you'll have castor oil that you can apply topically. You can also get like a glass container and have the castor oil or the flannel pack there and just soak the flannel with the castor oil the first time you use it, and keep adding the castor oil for consecutive uses of the flannel. Does that make sense, Melissa?
Yeah, that does. Yeah, so then pretty much you get the castor oil and put it all over your abdomen, and then put the flannel on top, and then you can put like a towel over that or a piece of plastic, and then the heat source. So the heat drives the castor oil into the abdomen, and that's something that I recommend to a lot of people. since it goes through the skin. The heat drives the castor oil through the skin, and it's very specific to the liver, which is there, to the spleen, and to the colon and intestines. And I recommend that to patients that have a lot of hormonal issues, since the liver processes hormones, and a lot of women that have excess estrogen. I recommend that, since it stimulates the liver to detox and process the hormones, and it regulates the hormones. And that's an excellent way to relieve all sorts of hormonal conditions, like women that are going through menopause, people with, like I said, estrogen dominance, and just an imbalance of hormones. And it's really excellent, and you do see results.
Yeah, and along the same lines, women with a lot of PMS symptoms, whether it be emotional or like cramping, abdominal cramping or bloating, or even like food cravings, that's just a signal to us naturopaths that the liver is having more sluggish time with detoxification and processing those hormones that ebb and flow during your menstrual cycles. So doing castor oil packs regularly during your monthly cycle, and not actually when you're bleeding, because different oils, similar to like fish oil, castor oil can be sort of a blood thinner, so that's going to change the way that your menstrual cycle is going to be when you're actually bleeding. So doing it the other time of the month is best.
Yeah, and it's really good for people that have sluggish digestion, and you just feel like you have reflux, or your body isn't really absorbing the nutrients or really digesting well. That's an excellent thing to do as well over your abdomen.
Yeah. So other things why it's so important to do over your abdomen is a lot of our lymphatic system and our immune system. So your Peyer's patches is what we call the different patches of your immune cells in your abdomen area. Those are also important for your immune system and just maintaining a healthy, body and a healthy mind, because your nervous system and your immune system is in your digestive tract. So very important.
Yeah. And topically, for pain is one of the biggest one of the most important things that castor oil can help relieve. So a lot of patients, they come in with like extreme back, knee pain, and they're on tons of things. They don't want to take any more supplements or any more pain meds. And so that's what I also do. I recommend them to use castor oil and rub it over that area. And I had this patient that had extreme knee pain just from first from like an accident, and it was swollen, and he was like, I don't know what to do. I don't really want to take anything else anymore. So I said, castor oil, just use some castor oil, rub it on, and put some heat over it. If it's past like the insulin, if it's still swollen, but it's past like the beginning stages, and so put a little bit of heat on it. And he called back a couple days later. He was like, wow, the swelling really went down. The pain definitely went down, and it felt a lot better. So I was like, just keep doing it, and yeah, it'll help decrease inflammation and pain and swelling.
Yeah, so you could do it and isolate it to a certain joint. You can consider the castor oil kind of like oil loosening up joints of other, mechanically. So if you put castor oil and you can do the flannel pack as well and the heating pack, but it just kind of loosens up the area, reduces swelling, helps with the pain management, and even doing the castor oil pack in the abdomen area for a lot of patients with fibromyalgia or body-wide pain. The castor oil packs can work even as good as any sort of pain medication. So, speaking to your naturopathic doctor is really important about when you're on different medications and what you can kind of replace and try with the castor oil packs.
Exactly. And castor oil is really good to have on hand at home as a form of first aid, since it's really good for the skin. And say you're like cooking something and you burn yourself, immediately rub some castor on it and keep on rubbing the castor oil on it for the next few hours. It really helps with the burn, it really helps with the pain, and it also prevents scars too. So say you hurt yourself, you cut yourself, and you don't want scars, and just put the castor oil on your skin, and it helps the area heal, and it'll help prevent your body from making scars.
Yeah, and you were just saying that Mimosa has a talk soon for any post and prenatal mothers, so the castor oil can also help with any scarring or stretch marks, things like that. So used topically is just really amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, so I was gonna say.
Oh, were you going to talk about skin, Amy? About eczema?
Oh yeah, so I just recently wrote an article for the blog Itchy Little World, and it's just talking about how the castor oil can help with any sort of inflammatory skin conditions such as eczema. And similarly to any other medical condition, if you're having some sort of inflammation, which we see with eczema on your skin coming out and manifesting as itchy rashes, then doing the castor oil pack, especially areas where that aren't open and they're not exposed and they're not acutely inflamed. So usually you don't really see eczema on the abdomen area. So doing the castor oil packs and making it a regular practice is really important. So you can't do castor oil packs like one day and skip like 2 days and it's a very cumulative effect. So having perhaps 3 days set aside, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whichever day that you can take aside, maybe 30 to 40 minutes, and having that castor oil pack on is also really relaxing, putting the body into a parasympathetic state, reducing the stress involved with a lot of medical conditions, including this, itchy, scratchy cycle of eczema. So it's a great thing to add to any sort of treatment protocol that I have. And yeah.
I really like that since castor oil packs, it helps your body physically, but it also helps you emotionally and mentally too. It's like you said, it puts your body into a parasympathetic state and it gives you time to just have to yourself and focus on your health, which a lot of us, we're so busy and stressed out all the time. We don't have time to devote to just taking care of ourselves. And so making an extra 30 minutes a day to do the castor oil packs can definitely do wonders for your mind and your emotions and all of that.
I also like the idea of empowering patients to take charge of their own health, and sometimes that means just taking that time for yourself, as you say, to do something that is benefiting your overall health. And that could be any sort of practice that puts you in that calm state. And I think the act of similar to making teas, just that more mindfulness in your day. So if you have a practice that's really simple, you just put the castor oil on, make sure you have hot water to put in your hot water bottle. This is a whole process that you do, and then this is just sort of an act of self-care and self-love too.
It is. That's really excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember there was a time when I was moving to New Haven and just starting, the new chapter of my life, and a couple of friends from our school came by too, and at night all of us had castor oil packs. It was like a castor oil party. So silly.
Nice.
Times are just laying there. So, yeah.
And it's a good bonding experience too, I bet.
Yeah. I haven't heard of for burns mimosa. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I actually did try it on my dad. So we were cooking, and then he was like, "Ow!" Like he burned himself, and I was like, "He's like, do you have anything natural?" And I was like thinking about all the salves we have, and I was like,
Yeah.
"No, I don't have anything, but I have castor oil." And he's like, "Okay." So he put it on,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Wow!" And I think a couple hours later, he's like, "Wow, this stuff really works." And then I found out later that he told everyone at his work that, "Oh yeah, castor oil, it's great. Put castor oil in it." Yeah, castor oil. He's like talks that up. He talks that up so much. That and vitamin C. Just just the recommendations I gave him.
That's great. You say that to everyone. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's something that's so cheap, very inexpensive. It's very easy to find. You can even find that at your neighborhood pharmacy, like CVS, Walgreens.
Oh yeah, they have it too, Mimosa?
Yeah, they have that. It's becoming really widespread.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah. And so it's really easy to get.
Another way that actually I don't use specifically castor oil, but a part of castor oil is really involved in my care for eczema. The undolenic acid is also from the castor plant. And this is FDA approved for treating any fungal infections. And I learned this in naturopathic medical school, how the undolenic acid is really good for any sort of overgrowth of yeast and fungus. And oftentimes I'll see in a stool analysis, like one of the most potent sort of inhibitory substances for the yeast overgrowth, which could be different strains of Candida, is the undolenic acid, as well as like garlic. So those two are probably my top two. But so finding that was interesting, how it also related to the castor plant and how it can be used in so many other ways.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Oh, and there's another thing too, and I was actually researching this when about fibrocystic breast. I remember having a patient with fibrocystic breast come in, and that is, it's benign, but it's definitely something that you should be concerned about. And you find that through a self breast exam or your yearly breast exam with your doctor. And so this patient came in with a lot of fibrocystic like spots in her breast. And
your patient, Mimosa?
What's that?
Your patient?
Yeah, this was when I was in school actually.
Yeah.
And so then she came in with that, and we worked in her diet, we worked in a lot of things, and she wanted something that can help like make it better, like something that she can do to make it better instead of just taking supplements and cutting out caffeine and changing her diet. And so we all came up with the idea that we should have her massage the fibrocystic areas on her breast with castor oil. And doing a lot of research, it shows that there's a lot of benefit to doing that, and it can really help dissolve the fibrocystic lesions.
Oh my gosh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and it's something that you can do. So you're taking it internally as well as doing it externally. So, or taking supplements internally and rubbing castor oil on externally is really excellent. They can benefits, like, it works synergistically.
Yeah, I think that I don't know how studied it is, but I do feel like castor oil helps with the lymphatic system a lot. So we have a lot of our lymphatic system in the abdominal area, which you would do for a castor oil pack, but also with like inflamed tonsils or inflamed lymph nodes. I think adding the topical castor oil is also a really good idea. So whether it be like cysts, or fibrocystic areas in your breast, or inflamed lymph, I think that the oil moves that really successfully.
Yeah, I agree.
So just another tool to have at home. I think it's a great thing to have in your your natural medicine. Your medicinary at home. So it's a great thing. And if you have any other questions or concerns, definitely talk to your nearest naturopathic doctor. I'm in New Haven, and Mimosa is in.
I'm in Alameda, so that's really close to San Francisco.
Yeah. So we'd love to hear from you, and thanks for watching.
All right, bye.
Bye, Mimosa. See you guys.